I would also like to address a related question on ACRA's exemption from PDPA requirements. The government has always taken seriously its responsibility to protect the data and trust it to the public sector, and we continue to strengthen our data governance practices. To be clear, the government's personal data protection standards set collectively by the Public Sector Governance Act, or PSGA, and our own internal rules, they are aligned with the PDPA and adapted to the public sector context. So it's not as though within the government there are no rules. There is the PSGA and there are also internal rules. These internal rules existed even before the PDPA and were updated when the PDPA came into force. ACRA, like other public agencies, is expected to comply with these rules and the PSGA, which are no less stringent than the PDPA requirements and often more stringent. For completeness, ACRA is also permitted or required by laws like the ACRA Act and Companies Act to share information, and it has to do so within the rules and PSGA requirements. So, to conclude, we are taking the public's concerns seriously, and we want to offer them better protection. We are not making drastic overnight changes. We do, however, need to move decisively to phase out the incorrect uses of the NRIC number, and the sooner the better. This will allow us to more confidently use the full NRIC number as a unique identifier. So thank you very much.
I wanted to ask, following up from that question, what's going to happen to the ACRA staff or staff from any other agency that are deemed to be responsible for this lapse, which has caused quite a lot of public concern? And are there any plans to review and improve government communication, both within and externally, to respond quickly to such incidents?
I think it would be premature at this stage to say whether anything is going to happen to the particular staff in question. As I mentioned, we're doing a review of this because you must remember, this is an instance of a misunderstanding, right? And I think one has to ascertain exactly how that came about and have a look at the full facts before deciding on what, if anything, needs to be done. On the second part of your question, are we reviewing? I had mentioned that in my comments earlier. I said that we are having a review of this to see, how this could have been avoided and what can be done better going forward.
You mentioned in your remarks about reviewing within the government, but what about public communication or responding to I guess, like the incident that happened last week, because it took a while before there was a response from.
Well,
I didn't hear the last part of your question. Would you?
So I was saying that I think Minister Indranee's remarks did cover reviewing communication within the government, but in terms of after the incident happened, there was a response, and then it's been about a week before we have today's press conference. So, is there any are there any plans to review and sort of try to address this issue more quickly next time?
Well, you're asking about two separate things, right? One is there going to be a review about what happened? And the answer is yes. So I dealt with that earlier. I think the next part of your question is there going to be a review about speed of public response? I think that there was a media statement that was put out fairly shortly after that event. But before we convened this media conference, obviously we needed to check more, because I think for anybody who's ever dealt with a situation where something occurs very suddenly out of the blue and you have to respond to it, you need to check. And here it's not just one agency. There's two ministries, MOF, MDDI. There's also ACRA involved, and there's also checking at the staff level what happened. So it does take a little bit of time, and that's why there's a bit of a gap. Obviously, if we can do it faster, that would be ideal. But that is the reason why there is a bit of a gap between the earlier statement and this conference.
Thank you. Yeah.